How can the UA work to bring together and bridge differences amongst various groups on campus, such as leadership groups, community service clubs, Greek life organizations, and groups that don't typically interact with the UA?
Sure. I think a large part of that I've kind of touched on earlier. I think that creating at the beginning of each semester for steering, a much stronger presence of steering circle, really talking out and seeing what each group's initiatives are for that semester, what their vision is for the campus. And I think you'd actually be surprised, like as much as groups may be divergent, lots of times there's usually common ground. And I think I've gotten lucky enough to see that again through Prism. And I think that is seen also in all of our steering groups. I mean, all different groups of Penn want to make life here a little bit better, right? And so they're all going to do it in different ways. So if you bring together different organizations and really get them working on, say, an initiative for school spirit, you can include, obviously, athletics. That is a big part of it. You could include Greek life. You could include religious life. You could include political life. All these groups that are proud to be a Penn, and that's what the school spirit is, right? So I think you can find a unifying factor pretty well. Any group's mission.
I agree. I feel like a really big part of this is improving dialogue. Dialogue is really key and essential in order to find that common ground. Like this past semester, we found that common ground on the issue of mental health. It is something that every student at Penn struggles with, no matter where you come from. You're in a very stressful environment. And when you find that thing that unifies everyone and everyone's passionate about, that's where you really get that tangible change on campus. That's what really drove this mental health initiative, which actually was not organizations coming together. It was just the student body coming from all grounds, athletes, Greek life, health groups, non-health groups, economic society. You find that common ground and then you can really move forward and make differences on campus. And I feel like that really stems from the dialogue, and that's where we can make our changes.
Yep. I mean, yeah, we agree. I would just, I think we both probably do this, but I would hone that dialogue specifically in a steering meeting at the beginning of each year, kind of really address that. Yeah, no, Julie's completely right.
Great. So the next question goes to Julie. What steps would you take to ensure that student groups and Greek organizations follow the university's anti-hazing regulations?
Well, it's one thing is we are all Penn students, and so we all do actually care about one another, and it's also going with we care about our student safety. And so if you communicate that effectively with your peers, I think you can see an example of this in recently SAE decided just to ban pledging altogether. And that's a really big stride in the right direction of anti-hazing. We shouldn't be hurting each other to build a bond. We should really be helping each other because we really want to stress our health and not our weaknesses.
Yeah, I mean, as a member for Greek organization, both of us are. We do know that there's value in tradition, but there's also a point, right, that things just cross the line. And I think you hit it pretty well on the head. Like you should be building bonds and really forging relationships beyond what can be a very hurtful environment. As far as like making sure compliance, I actually think that creating that OSC, the Office of Student Conduct Advisory Board, would be very helpful. Not only that we can advise on how to conduct punishment, but more importantly that student leaders can be more knowledgeable what the policies are and explain that to their friends. And I think knowledge goes a long way in that sense, really understanding how the university works. And I think like creating that fundamental framework of an advisory board might be a good way to help in that sense.
I agree, advisory boards are great, but it's also this whole hazing culture. Like it's very difficult to change a culture on a campus, let alone in a certain fraternity or sorority or a group of people. So that's why you really just need a consensus among the body to inform them, being like, hey, look, it's not cool. And that you want to build your bonds based on strength, working with each other to strengthen each other, not working against each other to hurt each other.
Yeah. I agree, and I think we probably agree with this again. NSO is a great place to start with that. something that Joyce has been working on that's very interesting, I think, very good. It is the modules for sexual assault in prevention awareness in NSO. And I think that similar ideas could be brought into NSO, more modules of just kind of, events that don't have to be boring. Like pen life sketches, you learn a ton, but at the same time, like, it's not droll and you're not looking at a fraud teaching you how to drink. At the beginning of this debate, I spoke a little bit about myself and my running mate and some of the goals that we have. And we do find these goals to be very important. Again, mental wellness, financial aid, international integration, student group expression, and sexual violence awareness and prevention. But I would like to take this time to talk a little bit about the VP's role in what I see for myself in it. So again, I am a senior, going to be a senior, which is terrifying. But one thing that I've found the most home with at Penn has been my student groups. I mean, my freshman hall was based on, interfaith, and that's not what I do on campus, like a large majority of time. And everyone has that kind of experience. And I think the VP's in a special role that they can bring together these different groups that people are so passionate about, that people are these experts on, that they know the actual policies that need to be changed. I mean, most UA members don't. We need to be educated. And I think that what I could do as VP is really bring in the steering groups, make sure that they have cohesive thoughts, and bring those into the UA. And I think that that's because, I don't know, the VP is just simply the job that I'd be the most skilled at, I am the most prepared for, and realistically that I'm the most excited about, to actually be able to impact students' groups and make things that they see as major problems in their communities go away and try and fix them. That's what I want to do with my senior year.
Well, I think that the takeaway of this is that we shouldn't be focusing on just the plan. You should be focusing, as a voter, on the person that you think is best fit to carry out your goal, your concerns and your ideas that you feel comfortable coming up to, that you feel okay to come up to and be like, hey, I have a problem, can you help me with it? And that'd be my role as vice president. The vice president role is hugely external. Like the biggest thing is that you really need to be able to build relationships, meaningful relationships, and connect to people in order to build that level of comfort in the environment conducive to carrying out an action and plan. So I believe that I'm really well suited in that capacity through my past experiences, just through the way that, I love people. And I just think that that's what you should really keep in mind when you're voting. And the takeaway from this is that, we're both like really amicable people. And I think, we both do a good job. It's up to you.
Great, that concludes this debate. Thank you guys.